If you didn't notice and you haven't been following along, I'm sure you could watch one of the 25 different videos from all corners of the political spectrum right now on the Anna and Cenk saga. Obviously, this is not a condemnation of TYT. There's so many amazing, beautiful, and wondrous people who still, to this day, work at TYT. Also, I want to say to people who are going online and being like, why won't every person quit the network or condemn them? A lot of people may be under contract. We have no idea what their contracts are. If someone's under a 4-year contract, no, they're not going to suddenly lose their child's healthcare or whatever they have just to be able to, like, at this moment in time, be like, I now have to break every contract that I've signed or something like that. Like, just, you know. The unhinged comment filled with transform and misogynist. Unhinged feels like a small step away from hysterical. I'll explain that as well. Oh yeah, and then we had, obviously, yes, yesterday, Anna arguing with Juniper and seeing where that is going. So, Cenk, if you can't tolerate any dissent from your maximalist position, are you sure you're a progressive? Is it left-wing to throw your allies under a bus for the slightest disagreement? Probably not. Hey, no one was throwing y'all under the bus. Again, stop twisting this. If someone is like, hey, by the way, this take is wrong, I come from a place of respect and love. Here's the reason why. I don't even think when I first responded to the birthing person one, I worded it in any way, shape, or form antagonistically. I just wanted to say, like, oh, just with all due respect, by the way, birthing person is meant to be inclusionary, not exclusionary. So it's not meant to actually change the definition of what a woman is. It's supposed to add it to people who can also give birth. Blah blah blah. I didn't even blow the smoke of showing the video of Anna agreeing with that exact take. You know. But anyways, this was the start, or I guess the middle of what Cenk was going off about yesterday. Maybe we'll get to the... Okay, so here was the first big one. Lying to the audience used to be the mainstay of mainstream media. Politicians are not affected by millions in campaign contributions. They are voting based on their principles, etc. Then, right-wing media made an art form out of lying. Now, some in left-wing media are also brazenly lying to their audiences. Some keep claiming that I'm against trans rights, when in reality, I'm in favor of all trans rights. But disagree on which professional leagues are more appropriate for trans athletes. I agree you shouldn't bother trans kids in high school. If you're a progressive and you heard I was against all trans rights because I'm a transphobe, you should ask those hosts and activists why they lied to you. I also think that trans people should be called anything they like. That's nice. And women should be called anything they like. Yes, some trans activists think this opinion is outrageous. Ooh. Names, please. Examples. Otherwise, as long as we keep doing this generic fucking fear-mongering, it only serves the right wing. This is the Fox News style. Some people have said, well, there's some people thinking, some people are saying, and you're like, who, tell me. Who are these trans activists who are like, yes, well, women cannot be called anything they like. Excuse me. We must call women birthing persons with the bonus hole. That's their new terminology. If you don't agree, you're a transphobe. All right? This is worse than if you own Hogwarts Legacy. You're the biggest transphobe of the year. I don't think even a majority of the trans community agrees with them. This is so, like, fucking condescending and paternalistic, you know? I don't even think the good ones agree with the bad ones, because the bad ones are bad. But those are two issues for which they say I'm a right-wing transphobe. If you agree, no problem, but you should know the facts and not listen to the liars screaming at the top of their lungs without explaining all the facts. Facts. I've been, by the way, ignored, but messaging, you know, Cenk publicly, by the way, with the facts, being like, here's the video clip of you actually agreeing with the opposite position that you are taking right now. Here's the evidence. Here's yet another example. People are not calling you out generically as now being a right-wing transphobe, Nazi, fascist. People are calling specific takes out. Same thing with Aaron. Aaron has been replying to a lot of them, pointing out, and here's David as well, pointing out again, respectfully, even in the midst of all of this, you know, I mean, a lot of the gloves have been off for a while, but respectively, you know, in that regard. So the young perf says, you know, you and Anna could have just not said anything, but congrats, you and Anna are giving far-right figures like Ben Shapiro legitimacy to their agenda. How? They're going to use you and say, see, even progressives find trans people crazy. So, you think talk show hosts should say nothing? On a political issue they cover, they should hide their opinions, and instead they should defer to people they disagree with. Interesting take. Sorry, I'm not taking a vow of silence when I disagree with someone on my own side. I should do a Jank impression like he impersonates me. Sorry, I'm not doing. Like,
For folks who are out there, here, I'll name a name. Lance from the Serfs. He's on here all the time on the power panel, right? And he comes out and does this like video about how he's so correct and oh yeah, the young Turks, correct?
What? Are you fucking kidding me? So as you all know, Ben Carollo was on the main show to discuss the clear issues with TYT, and Ben, she's one of three LGBTQ plus people who have quit TYT over this shit. Another one being friend of the show, of course, Mike of the Humanist Report. Jank says she quit so she is too pure for us. 2, she is an unhinged person who has called me evil, racist, transphobe, and other endless insults, and lied about our private conversations. Wow, what a level-headed person that I could learn from and grow by talking to. Great idea. This is an employee you're talking about. You're talking about an employee of yours. Again, people are saying leftist infighting. Well, yeah, who is the one pointing the swords? I'm sorry, everyone else has been playing defense in this regard. This is all TYT, and then everyone just watching and being like, you know, the totality of most of the rest of the left in terms of like media personalities are all just like, what the fuck is happening? Meanwhile, the centrists and the center-right libs, who have all had a lot of questionable and kind of yikesy pivots to, oh, well, when it comes to the trans question, I'm an ally, okay? I'm an ally. But I'm an ally with terms and conditions. There's an asterisk at the end of that, all right? I'm an ally, okay, but Lupron could be castrating children. I mean, I'm an ally, but, you know, do we know the science behind gender-affirming care? I'm an ally, but I don't know. It seems like there's an overabundance of trans women winning in a whole bunch of sports suddenly if I hyper-focus on 1 or 2 competitions that seem to be the same ones that everyone is talking about, even though they have yet to win a gold medal in the Olympics. I'm talking about trans women specifically in the gold category, but still, it's worrying. What about the prisons? Yeah, what's going on in the prisons? I hear there might be some mass rape occurring. Well, there is certainly sexual assault occurring. It turns out, again, trans people are disproportionately the victims of sexual assault. And if we're concerned genuinely about sexual assault when it comes to bathrooms or in general, well, we should look to the people doing the sexual assault. Who's doing the sexual assault? Oh, cishets. Yeah, cishet men, overwhelmingly. But almost entirely cishets. It's cishets doing it. Yeah, of course there are cases because people aren't monoliths, right? So trans people aren't monoliths, cis people aren't monoliths. There's going to be trans people who are horrifying monsters and rapists, of course, just like there's cis people who are horrifying monsters and rapists. But yeah, it is cis. Oh, but to talk about that, oof, yeah, wild. How could you say this shit about an ex-employee, by the way, publicly, you know? Like Olayemi was pretty quick to point out, like, oof. I mean, I don't know if you want to start calling employment lawyers, but that's pretty wild. I was asked, and I saw a lot of people saying, why is it especially bad if you start talking about how a trans person is unhinged? Or you might see people say things like, oh, they're completely insane, or blah, blah, blah. The reason being, and I've tried to explain this before, and if you haven't already seen this, many trans people have said this, they are told during the course of their lives by a lot of people who are closest to them that they are insane. That is an insult and a pejorative that is used towards them frequently, in that you don't know what you want, who you are, what you're talking about. You're crazy, okay? You are not fucking the wrong gender. You are a boy or you are a girl. Just accept that. What is wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe we need to get you professional help. And then thankfully, there are cases where people finally are recognized for who they are. And no, they're not insane. And it's one of those things where it's like, these insults, yes, it is specifically going to target a specific group based on a specific insult. That is a thing. That is entirely a real thing. When people are like, I insult everyone equally. All insults are the same. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, are you a white person? Are you going to start calling black people the N-word right now? Probably not.
Clean up your
I'm
room.
going to guess not all insults are the same. And the same thing can apply that if you refer to, say, Jewish people to specific animals, yes, there are anti-Semitic tropes historically that if you compare Jewish people to specific animals, this is something that, hey, if you're like, well, I call all people X. I call them all that. Every single person I do, I call them this. And like, well, when you refer to black people as that specific animal, this has historical and more powerful overtones to it. So yes, that is why when people point out, if people start referring to trans people, and by the way, this is unfairly referring to trans people as something like, what about the actions of Ben wanting to quit TYT makes her unhinged? What about those actions is unhinged, you know? So of course, yes, different words are different. Different words have different meanings. Different meanings have different, efficacy in how we manipulate and use language. This is the fucking utility of language in general. For the right wing celebrating that I'm pointing out some left-wing activists can't stand any disagreement, remember, your house is made entirely of glass. The right wing is not even allowed to disagree with Trump when he makes outrageous lies about how he won a 2020 election. The right wing is also not allowed to agree on 99% of the world's doctors on vaccines, or 99% of the scientists on climate change. Oof. I mean, really easy quote tweet here for anyone who wants it, where you can talk about what about every major medical association agreeing on gender affirming care, and the fact that y'all are now propagating a lot of fucking what if questions, both sides questions, like should be yet another one of those like, well, yeah, here's another scientific consensus, you know? Many of us conservatives do not support Trump. Exactly. This is the new paradigm. Radicals attack everyone on their side who doesn't have the most extreme position. Good people are driven from the conversation because they don't want to be attacked publicly. Then radicals claim that they're attacked because no one can oppose them. Is every Twitter activist now claiming we're doing a right-wing pivot going to come back and apologize to their followers for misleading them when we don't turn into a Dave Rubin or Republican going to admit when you're miserably wrong? Why won't you admit when you are listening to... It's like all your peers, all your colleagues, fucking activists, civil rights activists, trans people telling you overwhelmingly, like LGBTQ plus people quitting your network over this shit. Three different people quitting your network over this, all of them saying, this ain't it. This ain't it. You know, you don't have to become Dave Rubin. You don't have to be like, well, now I've got a new show where I talk about high-level ideas exclusively with the right and the far right, and they can spread their race science. Hey, Stephen Molyneux, tell me about race. Well, yeah, sure, Dave Rubin. Black people's brains weigh less than white people's brains. That's why they're less intelligent. Wow, I didn't know that. What a high-level idea. This is amazing. My cup runneth over. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't predict that. I don't see that. That doesn't change the fact that, like, please just address the fact that your colleagues and peers and people who, like, respect you, and in some cases, people who love you and have worked with you for a very long time, are saying to you that you are wrong on this issue. You don't have to fucking, we fight. We fight. We don't back down. That's not what we do. We don't back down when the going gets tough. Well, you are in this case. You're backing down. Because right now it's easier for you to suddenly default to what is default in fucking broadly speaking society on a lot of takes, transphobia. Like, yes, normies have come a long way. Liberals have come a long way. It's wonderful that they have people like Dylan Mulvaney on Ellen DeGeneres' show to be able to make them realize the humanity of trans people. And that's what fucking, like, I would say someone like Laverne Cox, it's incredible that she's not only so talented in what she does, but she's been able to break through into mainstream culture to be able to make a lot of normies realize and see the humanity in trans people, the beauty in trans people, the incredible talent in trans people. That is a fucking amazing thing, and that is so necessary, and so it's great that they're having that. But there are still obviously issues that are being talked about at the dinner table. When you sit down with your family, even if you have well-to-do progressive liberals, they've got their hybrids in the back, they pay their taxes, they voted for Obama. Yes, twice, 2 times voted for it. They can't be racist. They voted for Obama, okay? These are the well-to-do whites, the good-intentioned whites, and they might have some issues. They might get to a certain point at the dinner table where they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm for trans rights, totally. If you're an adult, do what you want to do. I just stay away from the kids, Is that a controversial statement? Stay away from them kids. And then you're like, whoa, where are you getting that one from? That one's kind of messed up. Okay, so, well, here's the thing. A lot of trans people, including even conservative trans people, have said this as well. Someone like Blair White have said they've known they were trans since about the age of 5 years old. That's when they recognized these concepts. They understood the concept of their own gender identity and then started to realize a whole bunch of things about themselves and the world around them as a result of that. So yes, trans kids exist because trans people exist. Because trans people exist. They were kids once. You know, it's just like there are bisexual kids, there are homosexual kids, there's gay kids, there's lesbian kids, there's asexual kids. This is just the reality of the world we live in. And they're going to go to school like everyone else. And so because they go to school with everyone else, if we look at the data on this, if they're bullied or teased or relentlessly pursued by fucking terrible ass cishet people, kids who are going to fucking pick on them and treat them differently for not being the norm, what is considered normal by society, it makes their outcomes worse in terms of mental health. If we correct for that, if we look at the data on this subject, their mental health, if they are not teased or bullied, if they are not stigmatized by society, are exactly comparable, if not better, than their cishet counterparts. So we can look at that and be like, it's us. We're doing this. You know, cis folk are doing this. The vast majority are doing this. Why not make their lives easier in school by acknowledging that they exist and then not treating them worse because of that, because there's no reason to do that. We can all agree that that's shitty. Trans kids exist and they should have a safe time in school. That's what activists are fighting for. You know, queer kids exist and they should have a safe life like everyone else. They should have just as many opportunities as their non-queer counterparts. That's what the activists are fighting for. That's the perspective. That's what the other side is saying. The other side, the extremists, they're an elimination project. They're hearkening to old-timey fascism, if you go as far as the Christian fascists and the Christian nationalist side of the aisle, where they're straight up saying things on massive broadcasting networks that they want to eradicate transgenderism from society, aka eradicate trans people. They say that out loud now. They're at that stage where they feel confident enough to say that out loud, not worried about the repercussions, broadly speaking, in society, that comes from saying something so brazen and horrifying as that, you know? Yeah, if I could, I would vote for Obama a third time. Man, that movie fucking slaps. All right. Oh, I just, Kyle put together an edit, and then I polished a little bit near the end, but basically Kyle edited together, and I just wanted to show it to you all because I knew that we had the receipts on this.
Clean up your room.
Anna Kasparian came after me specifically on Adam and Sitch's show, saying, you know, that I had taken some very bizarre position that is not reflected amongst the, you know, the advocates for, you know, people to have bodily autonomy. That is not something that is, broadly speaking, a popular position, and I don't know why Lance took it, and it's just stupid and moronic and all this kind of stuff. She almost verbatim repeats my position. And I when I heard her speaking, when I heard the words coming out of her mouth, I was like, I said that. I almost said that exact same thing, and I was right. And so when you line up the receipts, so you're going to see them right now. I have fucking edited the receipts back and forth. You will hear for yourself. All right. So I submit to the court of public opinion.
I want to say something about abortion. As someone who is firmly in favor of reproductive rights, I want to tell you guys and your audience that the vast majority of us do not agree with what Lance said on Tim Pool's show.
But you were talking about how women, how like disgusted you are that women may have an abortion in the 9th month, right? Or even
a viable baby.
Of a viable baby.
That could
and I wanted to scream at that time, being like, women who have abortions in the 9th month, they're not doing that because they got bored, or all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't care anymore. They do that because it's a fucking tragedy. Like, statistically, women who are getting abortions in the 9th month, it's because there's a medical complication that could kill them. That's why they have to do it.
So first off, Tim gave him like a ridiculous hypothetical of like a healthy pregnancy at 9 months, and the woman just decides like, you know, I went through the torture of being pregnant for 9 months, and I've decided to end my healthy pregnancy, you know, right before I'm going to deliver.
Right.
No one's in favor of that. Okay, no one, literally no one. I guess except for Lance.
Pregnant, the baby is viable and capable of surviving.
I guess except for Lance. You bought into Tim Pool's fucking straw man, whatever you want to call it, his fucking weird ass narrative. You fell for his weird ass trap.
On its own. Sure. And she says, before it breaches oxygen, kill it. Do you think that should be allowed?
This is, again, the baby guillotines. This is why I brought that up. But what a weird scenario. This doesn't happen. This is not the real world.
So I don't know what Lance really thinks. Yeah. But the only time abortions happen in the 3rd trimester, first of all, they're always tragic. They're always awful. And it's because the woman's life is in danger. Yep. Okay. It's never because the woman was lazy and decided that she wanted to do it last minute.
I don't think women on the 9th month get abortions with viable living children and then be like, I don't want it, kill it. I don't think that happens.
I don't know why Lance did that. I think it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And look, I don't think it makes sense to make all abortion illegal
Yeah, using the same words, right? I like when I heard it, I was like, oh my word, this is almost verbatim what my position was. And then I was like, I know you must have just seen a right-wing clip of me. That you fell for it. You fell for what they do. When they just like clip it and ship it and they put this little fucking 20 seconds and it's like, yeah, Lance says that we all have to fight for basically aborting 9-month-old viable fetuses. And it's like, no, they are lying to you. Why are you falling for this?
In the third trimester, there are some rare instances where
yes,
if the woman's life is in danger, right? But be clear about that. Just be clear about that.
So 88% of abortions are in the first 12 weeks. 88.
Yeah.
88% of abortions. Less than 1.3% of abortions take place near the 8th or 9th month.
And so, like, again, this is one of those things where I was like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's wild. That's wild, because you are not only taking my position, you're almost like verbatim saying it and expressing it the same way I did. Because yes, we agree. We are on the same page of this. It's the same thing with fucking the birthing person problem. It's like, but you agree with me. I'm not even doing this to like win a debate or score the points or be the right one. I gotta fucking own and destroy everyone. That's not who I am. I would rather be wrong about something, corrected if it actually would help the cause I'm talking about. Okay, but in this case, we are on the same page on both topics. When it comes to inclusive language, 11 months ago, you were saying the exact same thing as all of us, being like, yes, inclusive language does not take anything away from the other groups. It's supposed to include groups that otherwise are not part of the conversation. In this case, birthing people, you know? And so people were telling me, they're like, oh, do you think that like this was an intentional lie, blah, blah. My honest read of this, and if it is an intentional lie or not, it doesn't matter. Again, the effects are the same. This goes to feed the right wing and make them, it's food for them, right? Like, okay, watch this. Look what else Kyle found.
We got Anna Kasparian throwing Lance under the bus.
Oh,
Hilarious.
my God. Yes. Oh, my God. Unprompted. Unprompted.
First off,
Watch how happy Adam is here. Look how happy. This may be the happiest I've ever seen Adam. This is such a great day for him. Watch.
Tim gave him like a ridiculous hypothetical of like a healthy pregnancy at 9 months, and the woman just decides like, you know, I went through the torture of being pregnant for 9 months, and I've decided to end my healthy pregnancy, you know, right before I'm going to deliver.
Right.
No one's in favor of that. Okay, no one. Literally no one. I guess.
Holy shit. I'm happy. You know what? I'm happy for the boys. I'm happy for the boys. I'm happy all had a good time, and I'm glad. But we should be able to identify all this for what it is, right? Like, yes, hey, roles reversed, I would be laughing my face off too, okay? If all of a sudden, you know, someone suddenly threw someone under the bus right before my very eyes, it would be absolutely hilarious to watch. And I have seen it. Hey, when Steven Crowder backstabbed everybody, when Steven Crowder backstabbed the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, all of them, when he revealed not only the obscene amount of money they have to work with, like fucking the deep pockets those people have, but in addition to the deep pockets and all that shit, the fact that he refused their offer, and I'm sorry, but really, from a business perspective, did a super shitty thing to all of them. Like, I was actually on Team Daily Wire here, where it's like, he not only lied and was fucking deceitful about the conditions and tried to frame this as some, like, big con is the same as big tech, weird shit like that. It would have came out of nowhere after a fucking offer like that. Yeah, we'll offer you $50 million for your racist, transphobic internet show. Okay, cool. Well, you were secretly recorded, bitch. Look what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna reveal your secrets to the world. The whole world is watching. Look what you did. Literal slave wages. And you're like, slave? He offered you like 50 mil for your internet show. All you do is racist and transphobic shit. That's all there is. It's like characters from the 1950s, dog. Like, what the fuck? You're stabbing them. You're revealing the contract information. You're putting it out there for the world to see. Man, rugged, ruthless, but I'm here for it. It's funny. Okay, so I get it. But let's recognize this for what it is too. If Anna is going on these shows now, and Cenk is going online, and to everyone who keeps popping up in everyone's chats and comments and YouTube sections being like, the Humanist Report is stabbing them in the back. Oh, fucking Olayemi stabbing them in the back. Oh, Lance is throwing them under the bus. It's like, no, this is all reactionary. I didn't spend last weekend going on Adam and Stitch to talk fucking shit about Anna for a while, and then just being like, oh yeah, this is why Anna has lost her mind. You know, she's gone after the left. She has, and things have gone too far, I say. But yeah, the left, yeah, okay, thank you. The left is not a club you leave. By the way, everyone's calling your takes out. It's not like the left suddenly united and we all had a meeting and all of a sudden it was like, and by the way, why does the leftist mafia get these call outs like we are bigger than we are? People talk about us like we're Chapo. We're not. Don't get me wrong. I'm proud of all our accomplishments, and I do love that we banded together and that we can, spread the word and bring a whole bunch of guests on to talk about important issues and also vent and be silly. That's all fucking awesome, and we're gonna keep doing it. But we're not fucking Chapo Trap House, to be like, oh, they're fucking canceling her. Look at these two leftists. They've done the cancel culture. It's happened. It's like, I bet you if you look at the Young Turks right now, their numbers are fine. Their subs are fine. No one's canceled them. They're not going anywhere. And if anything, if everyone's like, well, they're just doing this to appeal to the right, well, then boom, that's not a canceling. Do you know the amount of bank they're going to make if they fucking get a Rumble offer or Kick offer? Kick, Rumble, forget about it. It's going to be fucking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And Kick has tons of deep pockets. Boom, there you go. And you get to say and do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about the big bad left. You don't have to worry about the woke scolds, the purity testing, all of this. It's just so tiring, I can't stand it. It's just so hard as a white person to talk to, people of color now. When I have conversations with people of color, including my partner, I guess. Oh no, I live with a person of color. What am I gonna do? I can't have conversations with her. I gotta watch my words every single day. It's like, hey, sweetie. Oh shit, was that sexist? Oh shit, was that racist? Oh shit, was that God, every day when I wake up, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous as a cis white person. You don't know what it's like, okay? I have to walk out in public and make sure that no one notices how white I am and how cis I am, and I just scurry around the streets until someone comes up to me and I'm like, "Are you cis? Are you white?" I'm like, no. Oh God, I'm sorry. Was that a racist thing to ask? Was that racist of me? Was that trans? Am I being transphobic right now? I don't know. The rules are changing all the time. Am I using the right names and pronouns? There's so many. There's xenogenders. There's new kinds. They're making genders up all the time. I can't keep up with this. How am I supposed to learn? What is a Z? What's a Zer? What a life. Oh man. Yeah. What's my impression is just being able to know a pronoun. My impression is being able to look at refracted light and not be afraid. Like, what the fuck? Holy shit. Like, again, why are these problems? They're not real issues. Fucking bonus holes. We're moving on to bonus holes. That's the next segment, by the way. Apparently, Tim Pool has obviously caught wind of this, and obviously we will see, I'm sure, a non-confrontational platforming of Anna everywhere. Anna's most likely going to do like Destiny show, probably going to be on Tim Pool's show, not in a debatey way, but in a, hey, let's just talk about how wild the left is and how all these leftists have lost their minds and how all these trans activists have just really lost the fucking, the political compass on this one. These are not winning issues. They're not winning issues. They're not winning voter issues. These lose elections. This is the shit that's going to fucking make you lose elections and all that kind of shit. And it's like, is it actually though? Is like, because when we look at the data on this, I mean, we don't have a monstrously huge data set, but it seems like it's been a losing fucking issue for a lot of conservative runs. It seems like when they hyper focus on this kind of stuff, I mean, maybe point towards other countries, because you might be able to point to, say, the conservative swing in South Korea, for example. That had a lot more indications that speaking about gender and the institution of gender being abolished and all that kind of stuff did resonate with a lot of conservative South Koreans who at the time started to buy into a lot of that rhetoric. Well, there's a more successful political run by being transphobic than fucking the United States. It would seem in a lot of states where fucking they go all in on the trans issue, when voters are asked, that's not the issue of our time. Like the right is trying to turn it into the issue of our time. You would think the amount of fucking times they talk about it, that it is the pressing issue of our time. Yes, the question of a generation. Like, the world is literally burning before our eyes. And we're just sitting there being like, we need to talk about the trans agenda. It's like, yeah, is there any other big issues going on right now? Any other fucking problems concerning the general public? Are people having trouble in their lives for any other reason? Well, yeah, I would say the broad majority is not that, is not that thing.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hegbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Dimmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.